behind for us. It says we are live. Here we are, Buck and 2MC. Where's Buck always at? She's in a gym. She's
Always.
walking somewhere. But she's with us. Got her mask on. She is ready to go.
That I am, Maria. Y'all know where your favorite place to be is every Wednesday night at 7, the Buck and 2MC show. Your favorite and the best place to get your Lady Ball current news.
Well, I'm going to let you walk and I'll talk and let everybody know, of course, OrangeMountainDesigns.com. That's our lead sponsor for this show. It is Wednesday. I call it the emptiest week in basketball if you're a Tennessee Lady Ball fan, because we're in between the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament, and we're all waiting on the selection show and the start of the big dance. So, Alexis, you went through this. You had the SEC tournament, and then you just stopped for about 7 to 10 days. What are the benefits and what are the drawbacks of this week?
The benefits are that you actually get to rest. You get to get treatment. Injuries get to heal, right? Mentally, your mind gets a break, and you get to refocus. Now is your time to, study film and really go back and see kind of where you could have stepped up more or where you struggled, and put that work in this week before the selection show and the start of the tournament.
Are there any drawbacks? Do you get a little rusty?
If you don't stay in the gym, you definitely get rusty. So you don't want to take too much time off when you're stagnant. You want to stay active and definitely try to get shots up and reps. You never just want to be sitting around. You should always be active in the gym.
Now Bobby is active in Ohio right now, so it's time for me to attempt a screen share again. Let's hear from Coach Harper. We talked to her obviously in South Carolina after the loss to the Gamecocks in the semifinals. So let's hear from Coach Harper about the use of that downtime, as it were, since it's not really all downtime. So hang on, I'll figure out the share button.
Maria, I don't have volume. I cannot hear you on your end. Can you hear me?
Yeah, could you hear the video? I think some people are saying they couldn't hear the video. Let me try that again. See, this is what we have when Bobby is not here, is me trying, because I'm trying to mute my mic so you don't get the feedback and share. Yeah, let's try that one more time. See if we can hear from Kelly. All right, let's go back to where we were. See if we can get it started again. Mute for the next, say, 10 days.
Well, I'd like to do a combination of both getting them rested, both mentally and physically, and I'd like to I would like to be able to check off some boxes that we are better in these areas. And then I'd like to, obviously maintain a competitive level of play with their conditioning. So I think, it's gonna be an interesting balance in the next few days. I think they're going to be motivated. I don't worry about them coming to practice not motivated. It is a long time before we play. And I'd say some teams are going to handle this really well, and some teams are not going to handle this break. So we want to be a team that comes out and handles this time off and finds ways to get better and, are ready to play at a really high level.
See what happens when you take a week off. I get out of practice, can't do this stuff anymore. Right now, Alexis, it doesn't sound like Coach Kelly's having to coach effort. Except that, that one time where they didn't have that good practice before the Georgia game. That's a big step, isn't it, for a young team?
I'm sorry, Maria. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, if you could hear the clip from Kelly, she is not having to coach effort with this team. She expects them to be fully ready to go when they get back on the practice court. Is that a big step for a team where the coach isn't the one having to start your engine?
Oh, absolutely. If you can motivate yourself, and if you're excited to get in the gym and learn whatever adjustments have to be made and you're ready to execute them, I mean, that's a coach's dream, right? I tell kids all the time, I can teach you the game. I can help you understand the game, help you learn it, but I can't teach effort. And so that's like a coach's worst nightmare, especially at a Division I level and at a university such as the University of Tennessee.
Kelly's been pretty consistent in saying they come ready to play. Now, the Georgia practice was an exception. They didn't practice well before they went to Georgia. That was also after that long road trip, the big win over South Carolina. So, but in terms of it also being a strange season, for Kelly to only be able to find one practice that she didn't like is a pretty big step forward for this team. Obviously, I want to talk about our other sponsors too. Blue Water Climate Control, Tennessee Tap House. And here we go. I'm going to try to do the link again. Orange Mountain Designs is our main sponsor. They got a new Road to the Final Four shirt is out because the tournament selection is Monday. So let's see if I can make that come up and y'all can actually see the shirt. And I think that shows on the screen. Can y'all see that?
Yep, geared up for the madness. Get your Lady Vol tournament shirt now. Not now, but right now.
Okay? Right now.
OrangeMountainDesigns.com.
There you go. It says 2021 NCAA Road to the Women's Final Four, University of Tennessee. Lady Vol logo, obviously officially licensed shirt, and exclusively at OrangeMountainDesigns.com. So come on, folks. Let's get enthusiastic and let's go. One thing I had no doubt that Tennessee would be in the tournament last year. Obviously, the tournament didn't happen, but I didn't think they were a bubble team. I think they were certain to get in. But there's no doubt this year they're not only in, they're a top 16 seed. Alexis, I know you can't relate to Tennessee fans having to wonder, are we a tournament team or not? But I mean, just how big of a step is that for this year to be? No doubt, you're not only in, you're in one of the top four.
Well, I mean, I know the fans are having a sigh of relief, but the players, it's taxing to it's you're gonna be on edge. Like, did we make it? Did we do enough? Did we beat the teams by enough points? Did we beat the right teams? Is this our year? And just to know, like, listen, we're gonna be there. It's just a matter of what we're going to do during the tournament.
And you're right about that, because if you're on that bubble, you're constantly being asked about it, not just by media, but by your friends and your family. And everybody's talking about it. And after a while, that can sort of grind on. You got somebody trying to sneak up on you, Lexus?
No, I was looking at my pops, and he was looking for me, but he went the opposite direction. So I was going to yell at him. He just got his first Pfizer shot yesterday, and then he wasn't feeling well, so I was just going to check on him.
Yeah, it can knock you back a little bit. My group is finally coming up in Tennessee, so I'm trying to get on a waiting list and get going with this thing. Like I said, I'm going to blow dart them into people, so y'all better go get them. I want to get out of this mess. I know we've had some questions that are coming up. One thing I want to talk about too, Alexis, and this is the time of year for it. Credence Wood asked, so what's going on with Sully and Memphis? Some may not know, about a month ago, Memphis parted ways with their head coach. They've had an interim head coach for about the past month. Jennifer Sullivan played at Memphis. I mean, that's her alma mater. And when minute I saw that Memphis job came open, I'm like, oh my goodness, I wonder if Coach Sullivan is going to be interested in that job. And obviously it's already hit Twitterverse that, Memphis is wanting her and contacting her. Do we know anything positively? Of course not. Tennessee's getting ready for a tournament, so you know how that is. These kind of things don't really get resolved until after the season is over. But it doesn't surprise me one bit. I mean, she's an excellent assistant coach, and that's a step up. And your alma mater is calling, so
right.
I think I would not be at all surprised if it were to happen. What about you, Alexis? Is that one of those things where you think, if that happens, that makes sense?
I mean, yeah, it makes absolute perfect sense, and it's a great opportunity. So it wouldn't be a surprise there if it did manifest in that way.
And obviously, the transfer portal is hopping. There's for people who wonder how it works, you have to have a way to log into it. But that could be any administrator, coach, anybody on the staff, and you're talking about more than 300 Division I programs. So as you can imagine, there's no secrecy with the transfer portal. You got hundreds of people that have access to it. It's going to get out when players are in it. Obviously, there's some names already moving into it from Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Duke. So it's as we've said before, this is free agency. You're about to enter free agency for women's basketball right now. So don't be surprised by anybody you see in it. I'm always asked, will Tennessee have anybody in it? At this point, you're surprised when a school doesn't have somebody in it. So right. For now, it's the NCAA tournament. Nobody at Tennessee is talking about transfer portal. The one name, and I don't know if you're familiar with her, Alexis, is Autumn Newby. She's a 6'2" forward out of Vanderbilt. She's a grad transfer. That's one name that sort of piqued my curiosity because Tennessee's going to need some help inside, but she's also an outstanding player. So she's probably somebody who, minute her name at the portal, her email blew up. So it's just a new part of the game, and you got to, I mean, for fans, coaches, be ready for it. Your roster's going to change every year. You're going to be recruiting your own players every year, and you're going to have to keep your eyes open in the portal. Jessica Gwynn said, speaking of Duke, any clue why about 50% of players have entered the portal? Specifically why? No. But it sounds like Duke is doing an overhaul of their roster, and as to why, if a player is in a portal because she wants to be or because there's not an option to return to a school, you never know. And I'm not saying that about Duke. I'm saying that about any school. I've said before, some players are in the portal because a coach put them in there, not because they wanted to leave the school. But Alexis, what's your take on this portal? Is it you just got to roll with it if you're a coach because here it is?
It's a part of the game. So now more than ever, it's important to build relationships. It's important for the kids to really feel comfortable and want to stay there for, all 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Now you don't really know who's going to do what, like you said, or what coaches have a change of mind or change of heart or get access to a different type player that boots a current player out. It's different, but kind of good because it puts them in a situation to be business minded early, because that's exactly what happens at the professional level. you may think you're doing good. You might like where you're at, and a coach or GM says, we're going to go a different direction, and you have no control over it. And so being able to get in that portal, make a decision, and a school choose you and you choose a new school, that should be your only mindset from there on, is to say, you know what, let me prove while I'm here and let me try to stay here. I mean, Coach Summit always said, develop and demonstrate loyalty. So, I feel a certain type of way about the portal, but I know it's just a part of this new era in the NCAA.
Yeah, it's now a part of your year-to-year recruiting plan, because you absolutely cannot count on your own roster to stay intact.
Right.
It always was a possibility, but now it's free agency. It's player movement. Jessica Gwynn says, saw a video today. The coach is mic'd up and McCoy seemed to be practicing. Do you think there's any real chance to get her back for the tourney to give more depth? Jessica, I'll certainly add that to my list of questions to ask this when we're talking to Coach Harper. They were off today, so I'm not sure when that video was taken. They did not have practice today. Today was an off day. So it could have been an older practice. I'm not sure if that is, maybe it's some older footage they had. If she's able to get up and down the floor, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, to actually be put into a game, to be asked to go game speed, and I mean, that's all, as Alexis knows, that's all on the medical staff. They get the final say on, okay, you can ease back here at 20%, or you can do this. So I'm going to add that to my list of questions, because obviously we'll get Kelly again before our selection show in next week. So I would hope for Jaden's sake that she could, but I mean, I would not go into the postseason counting on that for somebody who has not played in a game since December. So I don't know. Like I said, they were off today, so whenever that video was filmed, it wasn't today, because they weren't on the court. Laura Ward said, I'm glad the portal wasn't a thing back in Pat's day. My goodness, no.
No, that wasn't. No. That's not.
I mean,
coach could have coached back. I mean, now, like, honestly, she would be losing her mind.
yeah, because I mean, if you're a coach, you gotta. I mean, you gotta worry how hard you are on them. If then again, if players are that fickle, then you may not have recruited the right person. That, I mean, if you want to be coached hard, you want to be coached hard. Now, do coaches have to adjust their personality by player? Yes. Alexis, Pat could crawl all over you, and that would motivate you. But if she did it to somebody else, they may go in a shell. So you just, yeah. But yeah, if I mean, players threatened to leave Tennessee all the time, but they didn't do it. But if you had that portal dangling in front of you.
Yeah, you never know. I'm not going to lie. You just never know. Listen, if you're at a school, especially a top Division I school, and you haven't contemplated, leaving or now entering the portal, you're not being challenged. I mean, the coach's job is not for you to come in and be on this comfortable vacation for 4 years. No, they are supposed to teach you. They're supposed to pull you in different directions. They're supposed to take you and stretch you way outside of your comfort zone, showing you things that you didn't even know you were capable of. And what happens now is that begins to happen, and players are like, oh, no, I'm not used to this type of coaching. I'm not used to that tone of voice. I'm out of here. Man, coach, I'm sure coach is rolling over right now. I'm telling you.
Yeah, because she was all about perseverance and character building, and how do you handle adversity when things are really going wrong? Because guess what? Life is going to kick you in the butt as soon as you get out of college. And when things are really going wrong and struggling, is your reaction to go, or is it to stay? Now, there are legitimate reasons to leave. A situation can be unhealthy. The roster could be so deep at your position, you've been over-recruited. I mean, you're not going to play. Mm-hmm. So I get all of those. But it can make an emotional decision easier to do, rather than sit back and contemplate, all right, what's the big picture here? Tony Hill said, do you think we have addressed the needs of the team next year through the recruiting process? Well, right now you've got, 13 on the roster and 3 seniors, Cassie, Jaden, and Renaya, and 4 coming in. So if Tennessee had everybody stay, that's a 14-person roster. So you better hope so, because there's not any more spots. Now, obviously, you wait and see what the roster looks like at the end of April than you do right now. But as of now, I mean, Tennessee has 2 guards coming in, 2 combo posts coming in. They can play 3-4. Your best size, of course, would be Tamari and Emily and Kean Green coming back. Kean Green coming back really sort of helped because they weren't expecting to have her. So I would say as it stands now, Tennessee has the pieces it needs for next season. The wild card in all of this is, what does the transfer portal look like? Because there's like Jasmine Massengill, that one surprised me. No, there's some you just don't see coming.
Right.
So I never want to say everything's set, because a program, you got to get through March and April and see what you're left with in May. Denise wanted to know if teams like Duke, Vanderbilt, Virginia suspend their season, can you continue to practice? Yes. They just didn't travel, but you could continue all the weight training, the practice sessions. And if you're a coach that is not having to coach your team, what do you think you're doing all winter? You're recruiting.
Yeah, you're out. You actually get time to watch film, now you're not going on the road to be in the gym, but you're able to make more phone calls. You're able to build relationships with these young athletes because you have a lot more time on your hands, not traveling, being there in one location, only having practices. And you have to remember, strength and conditioning practice aren't ran by the coaches. So that those days and those workouts, that's time for them to put into recruiting the athletes that they feel are needed to come back and make some noise, next season. Because if you don't, everybody's looking at you like you're crazy. Like, not only did you have time off and you've been practicing really more than anybody, you missed the games, but y'all system should be almost flawless.
Yeah. And you like you said, you don't have to travel, no scouting reports. I mean, those teams that shut down their season and did not play should have a recruiting advantage going into this next recruiting season, because they've had all that time to identify and break down recruits. And like you said, Zooms and emails and however, whatever way you want to get in touch with them. Tammy Brown is in here. That is Tamari Key's mama. Hello, Miss Tammy.
Hey,
Lex, I'll let you respond to this comment. She says, hey, from North Carolina. It's too easy. It's been made too easy to transfer these days. Terrible in my eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation points. Kids need to learn to push through the tough times and challenges, period. All uppercase on period. Alexis, what's your response as a coach and someone older now than your 18, 19-year-old self in college?
It is way too easy for people to just say, okay, this is too hard. I'm gone. Let me try something different. So I agree 110% on that. It starts at home, though. It starts with the parenting. It starts with how they're raised and who their coaches are, outside of their parents. And I literally just had 4 or 5 players quit out of the same team because it wasn't what they signed. They want to have fun and play. I'm trying to get y'all to really get better and learn the game. And then I'm saying, listen, I'm gonna need some help from some parents, kids, and the kids aspect. They're like, okay, I can't communicate well with my head coach, so let me ask some help from an assistant coach or a skills position coach, and they may or may not be receiving the help that they think they need, so they're gone. I'm leaving. Let me find a better situation. Kids got commitment issues nowadays, man.
And I saw a clip on Twitter the other day. It was Kobe Bryant and Candace Parker, and 2 of the greatest players in the game. And tragically, one, of course, was lost a year ago. but he's showing her counter moves on her shots. And I'm thinking, people wonder why Candace Parker is such a great player, because she's in the gym with Kobe Bryant working on her game. She's not hearing, oh, you're so great, Candace. Oh, you do this so well. She's got Kobe breaking down what she's doing and showing her a better way to do it. That is what it takes. If you don't have that dedication to the game, you're not going to excel at the highest levels of the game. You just, there's no shortcuts, like Pat said, to success. Are some people more talented? Yes. Alexis is one of the most Gumby-like creatures I've ever seen on a court in terms of where her limbs could go. Most of us would break things, like shoulders would come out. You could run all day long. I mean, you had physical gifts that some people don't have. So does Candace. She's 6'4". Most people don't grow that tall. But it's what you do with those gifts. And that's what people do not see, is how hard y'all worked behind the scenes to get better.
Yeah, that's what it takes. It's the extra work. It's not the 2 hours of practice or your hour and a half strength and conditioning workout. It's what do you do in between that? What do you do when you have a quote unquote day off? I'm not saying go kill your body or go play pickup somewhere where you could possibly get hurt, but go shoot free throws, go spot shoot, do a 20, 30-minute ball handling workout, whatever you need to work on the most. That's what you need to do. Or whatever your go-tos are, you definitely want to make sure that you're sharp and in rhythm coming into the NCAA tournament. So stay active mentally, study the game. Why am I getting fouls? Why am I getting charges? Why am I giving up boards? Set goals. Listen, when I'm in the game, I want to have, in the entire game, I only wanted maybe 1 to 2 missed box outs in the entire 40 minutes. And I think that you just give yourself certain things to deliberately think on and execute, and stay in the gym, get creative, create scenarios, go back to that imaginative kid, growing up when it's like, I'm down by 3 and I got to get to this spot to take a shot. Make working out fun. And if you ever go in the gym, you don't know what to work on, ask your coach.
And get on the free throw line. For God's sake, hit a freaking free throw. I mean, 80%. I'm not saying you're going to be 100%, but hit a damn free throw. I mean,
80% or more. That's the goal. Individually and collectively, that's the goal.
I mean, when I see teams shoot like 40, 50, 60%, I'm like, you do not get in the gym. I mean, that is a repeatable. I mean, why are Renaya and Ray so good at it? And shout out to Tamari Key for getting better at it. She made it a focus. Repeatable form. The only way you get repeatable form are repetitions. There's no secret to this. You don't have to be a free throw guru. I mean, you have to shoot free. I can make a free throw, and I'm 58 years old. Every time I go to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, I go make some free throws just to make sure I can do it.
I love it. I love it.
So Denise said you might mention O&D has some Pat DVDs. Yes, they do. They just put those up, the 9 for 9 and some other Pat specials. If you're looking for those DVDs, they are not easy to find. So go to orangemountaindesigns.com and support our sponsor, orangemountaindesigns.com, and Terry Holder. Tammy Brown said, I told her I would whip her butt if she didn't get better. There you go. Sometimes it's that kind of motivation.
Yes, Mama, I love it. You're doing it the right way.
Yeah, I've talked to Tammy, man. She put those girls. I mean, those girls are some well-behaved young ladies who've been taught the right way. And I'll give a shout out to Mom on this. I mean, we know Tamari's at least 6'6". I think Tiani's catching up to her based on what I can see. And those girls stand up as straight and tall as you. I mean, I see so many big girls slump, and they just stand up tall and square those shoulders and like, yeah, I'm proud. I am big and tall, and I'm proud. So shout out to Mama for making them not feel self-conscious for being tall, but being proud of it.
I love it.
That is wonderful. But obviously, other thing I wanted to talk about too was all the Lady Vol sports. We talked a little bit about this on Collective Unfiltered: soccer, softball, swimming, track and field, rowing. They're all doing so well right now. Softball's just on an absolute roll. They were supposed to play Austin P, but Austin P had COVID-19 issues with their program, so that game got canceled yesterday. Now they open against LSU at home Friday, big SEC opener. So, Alexis, what I saw when you were there is that there was a lot of crossover support between the Lady Vol players of other teams. Why is that so important? What does that do for the Lady Vol programs as a whole when all you guys are rowing in the same direction, so to speak?
I mean, I think that it's inevitable what the outcome's going to be. You're going to get a group of girls that's going to give you everything they got because they feel the support behind them. They know that people are there to see them, to say you got it, to push them. But no matter if they play terrible or they play great, they know those fans are going to be there. So it makes you drive to play your A game, every single second, to value each and every possession. I know that's what it did for me during that time, and I'm hoping it does the same for the girls. So, make sure as fans, we are speaking positive things into the air. Make sure, instead of saying what they're not doing, say, praise them for what they are doing well. Because trust me, the coaches, and even myself at times, we're critical of the players, and so they can't be getting it from everywhere. We want their heads up, we want that confidence up, so that we can all get on that same page and surprise everybody and make it to this Final Four. Okay.
And Laura Ward mentioned tennis. Yeah, tennis and volleyball. If I didn't say them, I mean, they're just, volleyball is doing very well. It's just what is that? The rising tide raises all ships. It's really good to see the Lady Vol programs, particularly when they've got that prominent Lady Vol logo showing through, that to see them doing well. And Alexis, you brought up a good point. There are plenty of critics, plenty of people to tell you what you're doing wrong all the time, especially your coaches, sometimes even your family members, your friends. What's wrong with you guys? And that's another reason why sometimes the fan support, when it shifts into the toxic negativity on Twitter, I mean, you could hurt these kids. Are you glad you didn't really have Twitter when you were a player?
Oh man, am I? Listen, Facebook got me in trouble. So it's a good tool to have because you can see, what you're doing well, what people are praising you for. But it also has that other side to it where people have that freedom of speech and their freedom of opinion, and they're free to express it any way they want. And that could really damage you mentally if you buy into it. If you're always, so-and-so said, this about me. Because, people are savage these days. They'll at the person. So it's not like you're not going to see it. They will see it. And I think that I probably would have got in trouble with my responses. I would have, because I love to argue. So I would have entertained all the foolishness. It would have been almost entertaining to me, but I know it's not a good look. And there probably would have been a point where it would have gotten in my head, So be careful with that, lady, especially come tournament time. Just lock in.
Yeah, you can turn your mentions off too, and that may not be a bad idea sometimes, is don't even see the mentions. Or limit who can respond to your posts, like only people you follow. Kimberly Ogg said, I said at the beginning of the season, I'm just thankful to be able to watch them play in this crazy time, and I only look at the positives. Yes, absolutely. I'm still marvel at how these young ladies handled a pandemic. And even though the season was shorter, I was as tired as I've ever been after the SEC tournament from a writer's point of view. So I can't even imagine how the players felt. Rachel Henderson said, Buck, you would have been benched by Pat. Yep.
Rachel, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I'm watching some of my high school girls show up. There's a door that's open. They go to the door that's locked. They see it's locked, and instead of going back to the door that's open, they're trying to really bully the door. Like I don't understand. I don't understand.
Well, at least they didn't quit. They showed up.
Oh yeah, for sure. They better. They know better. They know.
They know better. Yeah. If you're at high school level.
Yeah. Well, Coach Sandra really is their leader. I'm the nice one, Maria. Believe it or not.
Oh, I believe it. That doesn't surprise me one bit. I wouldn't cross Sandra. No way. How's she feeling, by the way? For those that don't know, we're only 10 days out of your car wreck or so?
Yeah. Better.
How y'all doing?
Better today. I don't know if it's the ibuprofen 800 or what for myself. She's doing better. She's a machine. She never likes to admit when she's hurt. She's going to always push through, and 100% sure she has a concussion, and you couldn't tell her to slow down for nothing. So
she needs to be careful because concussion affects.
Actually, come snatch her up. Maybe then she'll listen.
Yeah, because concussion effects can show up weeks later, and that brain needs to heal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand. It's long-term effects. So, but thank you for asking. Definitely appreciate it. One day at a time. One day at a time. For me, I think mentally is the toughest part because I'm an overanalyzer anyway. So I have 1,001 questions of God, why now? Why me? Why us? Why, what are you trying to say? Why was it totaled versus, repairable? Why did it happen out of town? Like, it's just like all of these things. So for me, that's really where I'm working to get back the most. The physical pain, I mean, as an athlete, you're taught to kind of deal with the pain. So, yeah, that's.
I drive really fast. And coming home from South Carolina, I slowed down because I'm like, what happened to y'all reminded me, sometimes I should slow down. So
exactly,
I slowed down.
Exactly. Glad we can help. Maria,
yeah.
Before I'm actually about to have to hop off here to get to this other workout. But before we go, I just want to tell everybody that's listening and watching, send all the positive vibes, to the Lady Vols before this selection show Monday. Okay, we want the best possible scenario we can get. Keep putting positive things out in the air. If you're going to be on social media, lift them up. Don't tear them down, because it's going to be a tough one come actual tournament time. And we don't want no wishy-washy fans. It's LVFL, okay? For life. We don't want these up and down, mofos. I can't say the real words, so there we go. All right?
All right, Renee said, okay, we're going way off topic here, and I got one more thing I want to ask you, and we'll do that in less than 2 minutes. She said, you both need to be aware that your future mammograms may show damage due to seatbelt damage of your chest. So keep that in mind. I guess it could occur from the airbag too.
Yeah, thank you. I definitely didn't think about that nor know that.
Now, next week, we will have a show, of course, on Wednesday. Obviously, big topic, the brackets. But we're also going to have a special guest. And that will be a former coach who has just published a book called Secret Warrior, a coach and fighter on and off the court. I want to make sure I got the name right. That, of course, is Joanne McCauley. She coached at Michigan State and Duke. She just published this book, and she's going to join us next Wednesday, 7 o'clock on this show, to talk about her book, basketball, and her appreciation of the Lady Vols. She is really keeping up with Tennessee now. Now, Alexis, if you twitch a little bit when you see her, we will understand, because she was the coach of Michigan State when the Spartans beat Tennessee in the Final Four in 2005.
Yes.
Ouch. Yes. What are your memories of that game?
Man, I was so frustrated that game. After that game, blow a 16-point lead with 4 minutes or less in the second half. I don't know. Loss of words. At least I get time to put it together. No, but Joanne, she's a exceptional woman. She actually ran the Pan American game tryouts in Colorado when I played for the USA team. What was that, my 2010, 9 or 10? I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love it. She's a very intense lady. Obviously, she's a great coach. Definitely took my little freshman dreams of making it to the finals. She just stole that from me. But I'm excited. I'm excited to hear her and hear more about her book. But most excitingly, I'm excited to just listen to her talk and be a part of another great basketball mind. And I'm trying to soak up some things.
Yeah, you be thinking of what you want to ask her and just and the last thing for you, and you got to go. Why is the topic of mental health? Because she talks about in the book about her mental health struggles and having to hide them and how it affects your life and how the stigma attached to that is so strong that you feel like you have to hide it. Why is that topic of mental health so important right now, especially for athletes and coaches?
Well, the pandemic, number one, I think that's the most obvious reason. A whole shift in your lifestyle and how you're allowed to handle things. You're pretty much by yourself, and that's probably one of the not probably the best thing when you're struggling, with mental health issues. Yeah, it's tough during this pandemic time. I've struggled. I've had kids that have struggled, that I coach that have struggled, and it's just like nothing is normal. You feel like you're on a leash, a short leash at that. You want to go do this or you want to go do that, or you're used to having this, being able to participate in certain things, and you can't. And it's of no fault of your own. So now you have zero control of it. And if you're like me, some of my anxiety comes because I'm not in control of things. So imagine, the younger kids or even older people who don't know that that's their trigger, or who are trying not to be so anxious, end up going the reverse where they don't feel like doing anything. I mean, Maria, this pandemic has done numbers on people that, deal with mental health.
Absolutely. Tammy Brown, Tamari's mom, said, love Coach P. She loved me too until Tamari chose Tennessee over Duke and made laughing faces. But then she said, Susan Keeble said, Tammy, she still loves you. And Tammy said, yes, she does, sweet lady. I want to thank Susan Keeble. She helped put me in touch with Coach McCauley to get this interview set up. And I've got a copy of the book now, so I'm going to be all read up and learned up, as they say, by the time she comes on. So, Alexis, I'll give you some tips about what's in it. And
let me know, because I definitely I love being prepared, Maria. Okay.
Yeah, I'll get you. My cats are they've been like this all day. But I will let you go. OrangeMountainDesigns.com, our primary sponsor, Tennessee Tap House, Blue Water Climate Control. Thank you, everyone, for being in here. Tammy, thanks for making us laugh. That was a lot of fun, especially about kicking your kid's butt if she didn't get to the free throw line. And Donna Hairston said, I have PTSD from the Army. I was at the Pentagon on 9/11. Yeah, that's brutal, Donna. And I'm very, very sorry. But the awareness of this, of what mental health issues do to people, and the fact that people need to be free to talk about them and not feel like they're going to be shamed or treated like something is wrong with them. These are all important issues, and Joanne McCauley is going to help us with that and probably give Alexis a little bit of hell for Indianapolis. We'll see.
I'm ready for it.
All right, Alexis, go get those kids. Get them in shape. Go get them. Go turn them into Lady Vols or Lady Vol Light if you can.
I'm trying. I'm really trying, Maria. Hopefully, I'll be able to show y'all some of the products that I've been working on for the past 3-4 years. So.
All right. Well, take care of yourself, too, and tell Sandra to calm down and get some rest.
I definitely will. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all Wednesday.
All right. Peace out, guys.